Hey Wagwan, it's Kerri-Ann from Kerri-Ann's Cravings. Welcome back to my channel. If you're looking for a spicy, juicy, tender, and oh so flavorful oven roasted jerk pork recipe, you've come to the right place. If you're interested and excited about this recipe, subscribe now and stick around. Without any further delay, let's get started. So before I start seasoning my meat, I went ahead and rinsed it in some vinegar and water. Make sure you drain all the excess water and also pat your meat dry. This step is very important as removing as much moisture as possible will allow our seasoning to fully penetrate our pork during the marination process. So you don't want to skip this. So I'm using about 2.5 pounds of pork shoulder that has been chopped for me in medium pieces. So I'm starting out with 1/4 cup of my wet jerk marinade. You may choose to use less or more depending on the level of heat you're looking for. Then I'm going to go in with 1 small heapful of my custom seasoning blend. I have a quick tutorial on how I make this, which I will link for you in the description box. So now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of my dry jerk rub. Now guys, this is completely optional. You can use the wet or the dry rub, but I happen to like the flavor of combining both. And I'm going in with 2 tablespoons of my all-purpose seasoning. I'm also added 1 tablespoon of garlic salt to my pork. I'm also adding 1 tablespoon of my onion powder, 1 teaspoon salt. I'm throwing in a few whole cloves, and I'll follow that up with some crushed pimento seeds. And lastly, I'm going to drizzle a little vegetable oil. Now guys, for the next step, you can use your hand or grab at least 1 glove like I'm doing here. You want to make sure that every piece of pork is completely covered with our seasoning. You want to give this a really good massage because you want everything to be combined really well. So this is what it looks like when you've combined everything. Let me tell you, this smells so good, y'all. Oh my God, I cannot wait. So I'm going to cover this up with some cling wrap and allow it to sit overnight in my refrigerator. The longer our pork sits, the more flavorful our jerk pork will be. So our pork is going to take upwards of 1.5 hours to completely cook. So we're going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 375 degrees. So here we have our pork after it's been marinating overnight. Whew, the smell from this right now is everything. I wish you could smell this. It's gonna be good. Trust me, it's gonna be so good. So I'm lining my baking tray with some foil and parchment paper. You can use one or the other or both, like I did. I'm gonna add all my pork to the pan like I'm doing here. Next, I'm gonna cover everything up with a piece of foil and place it in the oven, and I'm going to bake this for 40 minutes on 375 degrees. So we have arrived at our 40-minute checkpoint, so we're going to go ahead and remove our pork and give it a quick baste. So I'm going to put my own spin on it, and I'm going to drizzle some beer all over the pork. Now you can use whatever beer you have on hand, but I'm going to be using some red stripe beer, which is my favorite beer to put on all my jerk meats. So now that we've added our beer, don't be afraid to give your baking tray a little shake to combine everything. And just scoop up all that juice from the bottom of the pan and drizzle it all over the pork. Then we'll return it to the oven for 30 minutes. So we're at a 30-minute mark and our pork has been cooking for 1 hour and 10 minutes. So we want to keep our meat nice and juicy. So we're going to go ahead and scoop up some of that juice from the bottom of the pan and drizzle it all over the pork. We want our pork to be succulent. We want it to be tender, juicy, and flavorful. I'm also going to do a quick test for doneness and color on my pork. It is recommended that you cook your pork to an internal temperature of 145 degrees. But of course, it's your pork, and you'll choose your level of doneness based on your own preference. So my pork is almost done. It just needs a couple more minutes. So I'm going to leave it uncovered and increase my oven temperature to 500 degrees and allow this to cook for another 10 to 15 minutes. This will allow my pork to brown up a bit and get that nice, beautiful brown color that I'm looking for. So it's the moment you've been waiting for, my addictively succulent jerk pork. It's spicy and juicy and tender and also flavorful. What more could you possibly ask for in a jerk pork? As always, thank you for tuning in with us today. If you find this recipe useful, please give us a big thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you will be notified as soon as a new recipe drops. Until next time, my friend, stay blessed.